Two men climb a quiet hill in Brazil. They're dressed in formal suits. On their faces, handmade masks of lead. Hours later, they're dead. No wounds, no poison, no explanation. Just a cryptic note, a missing signal, and a mystery that has defied logic for over half a century. What were they waiting for? And did it arrive? The afternoon sky in August 1966 over a wooded slope in Niterói, Brazil, was heavy with humidity and the distant hum of bus engines. On the hillside known as Morro do Vintém, the wind stirred through tall grass and scrub, casting ripples of green across a place that almost seemed forgotten. In that stillness, two men lay side by side, dressed in suits and raincoats, and on their faces were crude masks of lead. They weren't discovered by a detective or a passing policeman. A young boy flying his kite on the hill's edge stumbled into the scene. He sensed something wrong. He called, and by the time the authorities climbed the steep trail, the bodies had been lying there untouched, enveloped by nature and mystery. The men were identified as Manuel Pereira da Cruz, age 32, and Miguel José Viana, age 34, both technicians in electronics from the town of Campos dos Goitacazes. Clock time is important here. On August 17th, they left their hometown, telling family they were going to buy some materials for work. They arrived in Niterói around 14:30. They bought waterproof coats. They stopped at a bar and purchased a bottle of water. The waitress later reported Miguel seemed unusually nervous, looking at his watch repeatedly. By August 20th, the bodies were discovered. Each one lay next to the other, formal suit, waterproof coat, and over the eyes, those heavy lead masks. No sign of violence, no immediate cause of death. A small notebook near them held this cryptic instruction that roughly translates to 16:30, be at the designated place, 18:30 ingest capsules, after the effect protect metals, await signal, mask. The words hang in the air like paralyzing fog, an appointment, pills, protection of metals, a signal, the mask. When investigators finally examined the scene, there were the masks, a bottle, empty, and two damp towels. Their pockets still held money, receipts, and watches removed and placed in a plastic bag. Their bodies bore no external trauma, no clues to a struggle. So we begin here. Two men, prepared, positioned, and executed with chilling precision, or so it would seem. They left behind instructions, covers, masks, and a grave question. What were they doing? And why did they die? It's tempting to think of them as mere civilians, but Cruz and Viana were technicians of a curious kind, living at the edge between electronics and something else. In their homes, police found literature on spiritism, UFOs, and contact with other realms. One book, Vida no Planeta Marte, Life on Planet Mars, argued that extraterrestrial civilizations existed and human beings could connect with them. In the Brazil of the 1960s, radio waves, spiritualism, and enthusiasm for the unexplained converged in a combustible way. Spiritist doctrines, UFO sightings, and radiotech experimentation weren't mutually exclusive. Technicians could believe in circuits and in cosmic contact. The two men seemed to straddle that junction. The masks, crafted from lead, not ordinary sunglasses, not protective goggles for heavy industry. These were handmade, simple sheets of metal contoured across the eyes. Why lead masks? It suggests shielding from radiation, from light, from something ephemeral and dangerous. That's the puzzle. Then, the instructions. Ingest capsules, they wrote. Protect metals. Await signal. It reads like a ritual in code rather than a recipe for work. And where did the pills come from? They were never found. What was the signal? What metals were to be protected? The sky, the instruments, the masks? There's the bar where Miguel looked at his watch. There's the climb up the hill with the men dressed for something serious, suits under waterproof coats on a hot Brazilian day. They positioned themselves perhaps for an event. The crater quiet of Morro do Vintém becomes the theater of an obscure performance. Investigators later speculated they may have been members of a small scientific spiritualist group, experimenting with altered states or contact. Some claimed they expected a blinding light, hence the masks. Others argued the pills triggered an altered state, which combined with the exposure to the hilltop setting, triggered something irreversible. But the facts frustrate tidy theory. Autopsies were delayed. By then, the organs were too decomposed for toxicology. There were no overt signs of poisoning, no residue of struggle, no clear cause of death. The masks, the note, the setting, they all point outward, beyond the realm of normal explanation. And we must linger on that. Two men who made an appointment with something unknown. Did they succeed? Did the signal arrive? If so, were they killed by it? Or did they just fail to survive the awaiting? From the ashes of the facts, speculation blooms. One theory: accidental poisoning during a spiritual experiment. The pills, perhaps some potent substance. The helmets prepared, contact sought, and the result: death before the message. The masks were to protect them, but the harm came anyway. They expected a flash of light, a vibration, an electromagnetic moment, and instead, collapse. Another theory: contact with the extraterrestrial. Some witnesses claimed strange lights in the sky above Morro do Vintém that evening. The mask, the radio technician background, the prepared date and time, they all hint at a rendezvous. If so, the signal might have been arrival of something. Did it come? Did they see it? Did it kill them anyway? Some UFO researchers cite the case. A third theory: ritual suicide or cult initiation gone wrong. The instructions, the precise timing, the removal of watches, the formal dress, they all evoke ritual. Perhaps they believed in an ascension, a transition. They waited for the moment, then something misfired. However, this lacks direct evidence. Their wives reported they left for work. No note of farewell, no confession. Another angle: a hoax or a scheme. Maybe they were duped. Maybe someone else gave them instructions, sold them the pills, and vanished. The watches removed could have been an insurance of sorts. But then again, no motive, no signs of theft. Lastly, government or clandestine experiment. Masks made of lead suggest shielding from a directed energy or from radiation. Some theorize they were part of an unknown experiment, military, scientific, or occult. This plays into the Cold War era, Brazil's interest in radio and electronics, and spiritualism's murky overlap with secret science. But again, no proof. The files are sparse, some evidence lost. What is stubborn is not the shortage of theories, but the height of the unknown. The question remains: what killed them? And more haunting, what were they doing there?